Lauren stood on the bathroom scale. She blinked twice, leaned in, and stared at the number. Another 6 pounds gone. Her eyes widened in disbelief. How much is that in kilos? She wondered. A wave of quiet pride washed over her. She hadn't expected this. Not really. I should tell Emre, she thought, stepping off the scale with a small smile curling at the corners of her lips. Later, in the kitchen, the morning unfolded like most others. Coffee brewing, eggs sizzling, soft clinks of silverware. Emre glanced at her with a knowing look. I've been noticing it lately, he said casually, spreading butter on toast. The belly dance lessons must be doing their magic. Then his tone shifted, more thoughtful. But you're doing it for yourself only, right? I mean, you know you don't have to change for me, or for anyone. Lauren met his gaze. Totally, she said. I'm aware of that now. She sat down, wrapping her hands around her warm coffee mug. I've realized something. We always think we need to change to be happy or healthy, but it's the other way around. When you start accepting yourself, really being in touch with who you are, the good stuff comes naturally. Health, joy, peace. She looked at him with quiet gratitude. You were right, Emre. Your advice was solid. Be comfortable in your own skin first, and the rest follows. I guess I owe you a thank you for teaching me that. They had been doing mindfulness meditations together lately. Nothing too formal. Just slow breathing, silence, and presence. But Imre could see the change in her. There was a softness to her now, a stillness. She wasn't rushing to prove herself anymore. She wasn't criticizing herself in passing comments. She seemed lighter, and not just physically. Emre leaned closer, a hint of mischief in his eyes. So, is it just the meditations? Or is there something else helping? Lauren laughed. I think that's pretty much it, she said, grinning. And kisses. Maybe. That afternoon, Lauren found herself once again with Ayla. This time, they were strolling side by side down a narrow street in old Istanbul. The stone-paved path shimmered in the late afternoon sun, and the shops on either side looked like they hadn't changed in decades. Faded awnings, crooked wooden signs, mannequins dressed in long coats, and lace collars from another era. Lauren paused in front of a store window, displaying a rather conservative floral dress. She arched an eyebrow. Well, she said, lips curling in amusement. This is quite a step down considering the clothes you picked out the other night, don't you think? Ayla didn't miss a beat. Sure, she said with a shrug. But you always have to be on the lookout for different kinds and aspects of clothing and accessories. Lauren squinted at her. That's very fashion philosopher of you. They turned a corner and slipped into a small cafe tucked inside the Grand Bazaar. A hidden gem with wooden beams, velvet cushions, and tiny tulip-shaped tea glasses steaming on copper trays. The walls were covered in old clocks and Ottoman calligraphy, and the scent of cardamom and roasted coffee beans lingered in the air. Ayla leaned back in her chair, stirring her tea slowly. Look, Lauren, she said, one of the downsides of being rich, yes, there are some, is that if you're not careful, you get stuck, trapped in this tiny, polished world. You eat at the same restaurants, shop at the same boutiques, talk to the same people. It's all curated, safe, predictable. Lauren tried to look sympathetic, nodding slowly, but inside, her thoughts flared. I would trade my problem of next month's rent in a heartbeat, but okay, I'll play along, she thought, schooling her face into a gentle, understanding expression. Ayla sipped her tea, seemingly unaware of the internal monologue playing out across the table. Then she stood up. "Come on, we're going shopping." "For?" Ayla smiled. "Underwear." Lauren blinked. Moments later, they stepped into a small, dimly lit boutique tucked away behind a tapestry-covered arch. The space was surreal, part antique parlor, part private boudoir. Old ottomans sat in the corners, embroidered with faded silks. Dozens of Turkish lamps in jewel tones hung from the ceiling, casting kaleidoscopic patterns across the walls. The air smelled faintly of rosewater and cinnamon. "I talked to the owner," Ayla said casually. "We won't be disturbed. This floor is just for us." Lauren blinked again. "This feels oddly ceremonial." "It is," Ayla grinned. "Now make yourself comfortable." What followed was something Lauren would never have expected. A fashion show, in underwear. Lauren ran her fingers over the silks and laces lining the racks. Her cheeks were already flushed, though she wasn't sure if it was from the warm lighting or the sheer absurdity of what was about to happen. Ayla, of course, went first. She disappeared behind a velvet curtain and returned moments later in a deep ruby red set, lace bralette with delicate scalloped edges, and a matching high-waisted bottom that looked vintage but daring. She placed one hand on her hip and strutted like she owned the entire Ottoman Empire. Lauren clapped, eyes wide. "Okay, that's dramatic." "You're welcome," Ayla said with a wink, twirling once and letting the red lace catch the lamplight. "You're up." Lauren hesitated, then reached for a powder blue set she had spotted earlier. It was soft and romantic, more Jane Austen than runway. She stepped out tentatively, adjusting the thin straps on her shoulders. The bralette was a gentle triangle cut, almost translucent with tiny embroidered flowers. The matching bottoms were high cut, trimmed with satin ribbon. She looked uncertain. Ayla tilted her head, admiring. "You look like you wandered out of a French poem. All you need is a field of lavender behind you." Lauren laughed, easing into the moment. "Okay," Ayla said, heading back in. "Level 2. She reappeared in a sheer black number, half corset, half scandal. Boning along the torso hugged her in all the right places, while the sheer mesh and tiny velvet bows added just the right amount of drama. Lauren let out a low whistle. "You're going to get this place shut down. That's the idea." Feeling emboldened some, Lauren slipped into her second choice, an emerald green satin set with a structured balconette bra and cheeky cut panties. She stepped out with her arms lifted, like a ballerina on stage. The rich green shimmered against her skin, and the tailored fit gave her a silhouette she didn't know she had. Ayla let out a gasp. "Lauren, my dear, you're not allowed to be insecure in that outfit. It's illegal." Lauren laughed, spinning once, letting the energy of the fabric feed her confidence. Third round. Ayla returned wearing something playful this time. A blush pink set with ruffled edges and tiny cherries embroidered across the cups. She bounced down the aisle like a schoolgirl doing improv burlesque. "I call this one Fruit of Flirtation," she announced. Lauren doubled over laughing. For her final set, Lauren chose the most unexpected one, a rich maroon lace bodysuit with a plunging neckline and dramatic back cutout. It clung to her like a second skin, sultry but elegant. She walked out slowly, with a raised eyebrow and a mischievous smile, mimicking Ayla's earlier strut. "Who is she?" Ayla whispered, eyes wide. "I don't know," Lauren said, beaming, "but I like her." They stood in front of a long mirror for a moment, shoulder to shoulder, one in pink, one in maroon, both glowing from the inside out. And then, Ayla spotted something in the corner. A rack of belly dance outfits. Velvets, silks, sequins, and coins. Like a treasure chest exploded. "I can't not try one," she said, grabbing a deep purple set with golden embroidery and a flowing hip scarf lined with jingling coins. She disappeared behind the curtain and reemerged, arms raised in a mock shimmy, coins chiming with every movement. Lauren cracked up. "You look like a sexy genie. I grant more than 3 wishes," Ayla said, swaying dramatically. Lauren reached for a turquoise set. She knew this cut. It was almost identical to the one she wore in class. As she wrapped the scarf around her hips and adjusted the cropped top, something clicked into place. She stepped out, already doing a small shoulder shimmy. "I take belly dance lessons," she said, almost casually. "The teacher's Japanese. Can you believe it?" Ayla froze mid-sway. "A Japanese belly dance teacher in Istanbul?" Lauren grinned. "She's amazing." Ayla placed a hand on her heart. "Honestly, if you went to Japan right now, I'm sure you'd find a Turkish samurai running a noodle shop." They laughed until their sides hurt. No filters, no curated Instagram captions. Just 2 women, half-dressed in sparkles, laughing under the warm glow of 100 hanging lamps. Lauren caught a glimpse of herself in the mirror again. Not the same girl who had arrived in this country, weighed down in more ways than one. Still, not perfect, not polished, but alive and beautiful. Next episode. Carried away, like dandelion seeds.